Alright, hey guys. This is just gonna be a long, sort of unedited video of basically just any sort of like new games that I've gotten recently that I haven't really talked much about. And I'm doing this because I feel I'm not able to upload enough on this channel. But I can't like do a video with too much editing in it, like top 10s and stuff, because my main computer is broken. So I'm just gonna do this one, which is like very low editing. I'm probably have background music in it. So let's just go ahead and jump in. Let's check out the games. Alright, here we go. So as you can see, these are all of my like new recent games that I've picked up. I have a bunch more, but these are the ones that are most recent. Like I have some that I haven't talked about at all yet, but this is what I'm just gonna start out with. So let's go with the big bulkier one. Here we have a TV plug-in game. I like these things enough that I actually want one of my next videos to be about all the TV plugins I have. Now this one is a Star Wars one. I have a bunch of Star Wars of these. And this one is based off of Episode 3. It's a pretty fun little console, which is actually one of the best part about these TV game things, is so much effort is gone right into the console itself. But I don't want to get into too much of that because I want to save it for the video. But basically it's Episode 3, a bunch of, I think it's like 4 or so mini games, and they're pretty fun. Not the best, but you know, for a thing that you can get at any Goodwill for like under 10 bucks, it's well worth it. So that's that thing. Next up, let's just go through the N64 list in order of how I have them sitting here. So to start out, we have Hercules: Legendary Journeys. I'm sure most of you have seen JonTron's review of this, and I gotta say, he's actually fairly right. I wouldn't say 100%. He kind of like was a little mean about it, just for the fact that I copied Ocarina of Time. But since I copied Ocarina of Time, it's kind of a case of almost like Goof Troop, how I copied Link to the Past. And it's not really all that bad of a game. There's parts where the jumping or platforming is like really off and pretty difficult to do. But from what I've done, I've had a lot of fun with this, and I got actually really far until my N64 game pack decided to mess up and delete all my save data, so I'd have to restart this like whenever I'm feeling like it. But yeah, it's a fun game. I enjoy it. It's got really funny dialogue in it, just sort of like stuff you wouldn't expect to hear in like a dramatic Hercules game. And yeah, I actually enjoyed it. I would think it's a fun adventure game. Alright, next up we have Wheel of Fortune. This one is pretty much self-explanatory. It's just the game Wheel of Fortune. As you can see, Vanna White right there. And my mom and I have actually been having a lot of fun playing this, since she only likes the games that she like would know how to play, and they don't have to work your brain too much. Like, not in the action-y, know where you're going sort of way, but just in the game show kind of way. So just a generic Wheel of Fortune. Doesn't really show off the N64 graphics all that well. It kind of uses cardboard cutouts of people, but I like it. It's pretty fun, yeah. Next up we have number 3 on my top 10 racing games, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, as previously owned by Victor Dina, I'm not sure. Wasn't able to get that off, but yeah, it's exactly pretty much what I talked about in the game, in the top 10 racing games. It's fun, it's got cool characters, cool secret characters that I was able to figure out about. Lots of fun stages that I didn't even know about, because on the stage menu, when you choose your track, if you push down on the controller, you will find a whole completely new set of stages, and I had no idea about that when I did the review, so it was cool seeing some new tracks, and they were really awesome. And yep, my favorite character is still Team Topag-Lise. Now here we have another racing game. As you can see, if I can get it to focus, the art is a little torn up, but it actually works pretty good. It needed a little persuasion down in the cartridge slot, but after I just sort of gave it a scrub through with a wire brush, it was perfectly fine. And you know, it's a fun racing game. I'm actually surprised I did not put these on my top 10 racing games list. I definitely could have taken some out and replaced them with these. These being this one and Rush 2049, as you can see there. But this was probably my favorite one of the series, and it still is. Let's fix some stuff. There we go. Lots of cool cars. Really fun tracks. Control can be a little bit off, and the timer can be a little bit short, but it's really fun. It's got fairly good graphics for looking so old as it is. Surprisingly, it's not as old. I just realized it has an E for everyone. When some of them, like for Wheel of Fortune, for example, has if you can see it, a KA. That was before E was invented for kids to adults. Yeah, pretty good racing game. I would suggest it if you can find a copy of it. And what do you know? Another racing game. Actually, the rest of these are racing games as well. Beetle Adventure Racing. I got this one after sort of seeing more about it and finally seeing Peanut Butter Gamer's video about it. And I actually was able to find the alien spaceship he was talking about. It actually wasn't that hard to get to. And just a generic racing game. The tracks are sometimes hard to get, but as long as your game pack doesn't mess up like mine did, you're able to keep those tracks, and yeah, I would say it's pretty fun. Control is a little slow, but it's good. My number one racing game. I finally got this. Destruction Derby 64. This is pretty much as amazing as it was when I first reviewed it in Top 10 Racing Games. And you know, it's pretty much the way I showed it. It was really fun, lots of cars. It was kind of more difficult since I used cheats back in the day when I was playing this on an emulator. Because I used a cheat that wouldn't let your car get destroyed. So you usually always got first place and got all the tracks. So getting the tracks a little more difficult, and that's the problem with a lot of these. If I want to use a cheat to unlock everything, because with racing games it's not always fun. Like in the next game it is, but it's usually not always fun to just try and unlock everything and everything. You just want to get right into it with all the cool new stuff, or at least that's how I see it. But yeah, Destruction Derby 64, just as fun as I remember. Now here we have, finally, Mario Kart 64. This game I was super lucky to get for a super cheap price. See, I bought Wheel of Fortune at one store for like $8 or so. But when I put it in at my grandma's, because this was where I went thrift store shopping with my grandma, which is where I get a lot of my games from, and a great place to find games, because they don't know how to price video games. They don't know the value of them, usually. And the Wheel of Fortune didn't work. Like, not specifically this one. I got this one later on during the trip, but I had another one, and that one didn't work at all. So when we tried returning it, the guy at the counter was like, well, why don't you choose from one of the other games we have in the back? And one of which was Mario Kart 64, and this was priced at like $30 to $40. And when he put in the N64, he didn't know if the N64 worked, he didn't know if the game worked. So, and one funny thing I noticed is when he was testing out the console, he turned it on, but there was no game in it. And he just must not have known that with the N64, nothing happens when you turn it on without a game. It's not like the GameCube where it'll bring you to the GameCube menu. But yeah, he went ahead and traded this. So we got Mario Kart 64, a $30 to $40 game, for only $8. And this is also really happy to me because this was a game that my brother and I played all the time when the only available N64 was at my grandma's house, and it was super fun. Lots of good memories, nostalgic basically. And finally we have a GameCube game, True Crime. This is the game I have been playing the most of recently. It is so much fun. It is literally Grand Theft Auto for the GameCube. Like, it sounds a little weird, but it is. It's got pretty much everything you could find in Grand Theft Auto. The carjacking, the rap music, the completely causing havoc throughout LA, as you can see. And yeah, it's a super fun game. I really enjoy it. And there's a lot of fun little cheats, like my one that I'm playing as right now. There's one cheat that makes your car super strong. And then there's also a cheat that allows your character to be dressed up as sort of like a donkey, which is kind of funny. So yeah, that's True Crime, and those are a lot of the new games that